Well, Marcel, what a pleasure it is to have you on the podcast. And we're talking because it's been confirmed in the past few weeks that you'll return to London this spring to go for another title. What does the race mean to you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, the race in London means a lot to me. I think I never missed a London marathon since I don't know how many years. I've been there for so many times, and it's always a great pleasure and a lot of fun to compete here. And yeah, and I enjoy it a lot to compete there.
Yeah, and you're going to be going for a record equaling title. It's our own David Weir that's got that record at the moment. So you're an extremely popular athlete, but if you win again, maybe not, maybe not quite so much on the day.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I just try to keep my performance in focus and not to have a record in my mind too much. Of course, if it would happen, I would be so happy, so proud. It would really mean a lot to me. But yeah, I mean, also if I don't have the record, I mean, Weir is a great athlete. He did a lot for our sport, and yeah, it's always a great pleasure to compete against David. And yeah, I mean he deserves the record, but if I can beat it, I would take it.
Yeah, that we're biased, but we think that London is the best of the majors. They all have their different qualities, but what stands out for you with London? What makes it maybe sets it apart from different races?
There are many things there that stands out in London. First of all, I think it's the course. It's a challenging course which has a bit of everything. It has uphills, downhills, turns. It's a very tactical course. Some long straights. So it has really everything. And the other thing is the atmosphere is very special, very unique in London, I would say. Yeah, the crowd, they are really amazing there. But also for me, London is one of my favorite cities because, yeah, of course, the atmosphere, but also when the modern part and the historic part comes together in one city or in one country, it's very special. And I just like the people there. Yeah, I really like them.
Yeah, and when it comes to wheelchair racing, generally, you kind of have the opportunity, don't you, to go for all of the majors if you want to. I know it's logistically quite difficult, but I mean, you could try and complete the clean sweep. You've done it for the six majors before. Are you targeting the all seven this year?
Not sure, but I don't think so. I think seven now with Sydney also in the series. It might be a little bit too much. This year I plan to do Tokyo again, Tokyo Marathon. So, and another Japanese marathon at the end of the season in Oita. So it might be a little bit too much if I do all the seven. But yeah, not fully decided yet, but maybe not.
In Oita, that's where you've set your super fast time in the past. So you is that sort of something that you're targeting again, like a new world record?
Yes, it's in my mind, especially because last year I missed my own world record by only 4 seconds, and also 3 years ago, also by 4 seconds at the same place. So it's incredible, and so I think, yeah, I want to go for another try.
Yeah. And when it comes to London, are you planning to do Boston as well that same week, or is that going to be a little bit too much? Or
Yes, now I do Boston as well on the same week as usual, going from Boston straight to London,
yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, cool. Look, happy birthday for recently. You've turned 40. It's something
Thank
I'm
you.
dreading a little bit myself this summer, but I'm doing the
Okay.
same thing. That your dominance, though, is extraordinary and it's showing no sign of slowing down, at least from us watching. How's the body feeling in comparison to maybe the past few years?
Well, my body feels very similar to 39, to be honest. No, it's not a big difference. No, I feel still very good. My body feels strong and healthy, which I don't take for granted. So I'm very happy, very grateful for my body. Also, we do a lot of training, a lot of traveling, and everything. Of course, endurance is still great in the older ages, but on the track, I feel a bit difference from the explosivity at the start line, probably. So the younger athletes are having an advantage on this, but no, still feel great.
Yeah. Um, you were quite a late bloomer in terms of your dominance, and I mean that as the fact that your first Paralympic gold was Rio. So I think you would have been, were you 30 at the time, or did you turn 30 when you won in Rio?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I know I know you won a world title back in 2006, and they did, but it didn't start becoming regular until your late 20s, early 30s. Do you kind of look at it in the same way in terms of when you became a real force in the sport? That not that it took a while to get going, but it was sort of when you hit your 30s that you really became this dominant.
Sorry, could you repeat
Yeah,
question?
yeah. So I mean, when you look at your achievements, it looks like you're quite a late bloomer in terms of the fact that your first Paralympic gold was in Rio. So you would have been 30 at the time. And I know you'd previously won a world title back in 2006, but I guess they didn't become more regular until you were getting on a bit into your late 20s and early 30s. What was it that made you more of a force, more formidable, the dominant athlete that you became as you got older?
It's a good question. I wouldn't say I was a late bloomer. I had already success earlier, but with the gold medal for the Paralympics, it took a long time. So yeah, I had to go for 4 Paralympics. Before I was bronze and silver, but finally in Rio I got the gold medal. And then I think a difference made, um, of course, the Tokyo Paralympics was, um, I don't know, a change in my career. I had a lot of success in Tokyo. Also, together or with the support of the project of the racing wheelchair producing in Switzerland. It was a great thing, and this gave me a big boost. Of course, it was also a lot of pressure to come along the Paralympics in Tokyo with a new racing wheelchair. But then it went so well from the beginning, from the first competition, the first start. And from this point on, there was no more pressure, and the mental, I was just open and free for other successes. And from this point on, from success to success, to win, my confidence grew, and yeah, my mental strength um, was growing, and I think that was the key, and also the change from my strategy to try, especially in the marathons, to play out my strengths with endurance, to go hard from the beginning was also a difference, I think. Before that, it was more tactically. We had a lot of final sprints in the marathons as well. But then I always try to split the group and go away from them early. I think that's also difference.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely notice. I commentate on a lot of your races, especially in the marathons, and you can see that. You know, you try and take the race away from your competitors as
Mhm.
much as you can as early on, and most of the time it pays off. I'm going to come back to strategy and tech in a bit, if that's all right. If we just go back a little bit, I was covering London 2012 as a radio journalist, and I think at least in the UK, parasport exploded in terms of its popularity, in terms of its accessibility, and also its profile. It felt like it was a real turning point moment for disability sports. And it made stars of, you know, David Weir and Hannah Cockcroft in the UK. Did you feel like it's had the same impact internationally in terms of it maybe opening up more possibilities and opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. It was also they had an impact globally, I would say. Also in Switzerland, there was more visibility, was more interest in the media, and yeah, I think the way how it was broadcasted was a huge difference. And I think London Paralympics was a huge turning point for parasport.
Yeah. And the crowds as well, right? The full stadiums. When you look at parasport now and specifically para athletics, it was really hard to find coverage in the UK of the World Championships last year. And that felt like a massive shame. We actually talked about it on the podcast and criticized the fact that, you know, in September we couldn't find the champs in India. But when it comes to major marathons, the coverage is really good. You know, so do you feel like from a profile point of view, wheelchair racing is sort of flying the flag for parasport at the moment in terms of its sort of visibility?
Yes, I think in the visibility, I think we have the huge privilege that wheelchair racing uh, has the marathons, the major marathons. I think this is a very huge chance, a huge thing for us to have this visibility, and I think it's a very important sign for parasport or for people with disability in general that we are so included in this marathon major series with all this visibility and also in terms of prize money and everything. I think it's a huge privilege we have. I hope other parasports can also have the same things in the future. But I think for us, it's important that we take care of this situation and to be grateful. Um, so yeah, that's one thing. But the other thing is in other or in other things of wheelchair racing, I'm a little bit concerned or a little bit worried that we should have another development because we have such great opportunity. I think we should have more athletes in this sport and more awareness outside of the marathons, also on the track, for example, or world championship and everything like this. And so, yeah, I think we are in a good way, but we should take more care of it, that younger athletes come into our sport and can have access to these opportunities.
Yeah, well, that's one of the next questions I was going to ask actually, and I guess, I mean, does that fall on the national federations? Does it fall where's the responsibility for that? Because I think if we just talk about marathon racing just for a second when it comes to wheelchair racing, On the men's side, there's the likes of yourself and David Weir and Daniel Romanchuk and Tomoki Suzuki. And on the women's side, Catherine De Bruyne, Susanna Scaroni, Manuela Shah, Eden Rainbow Cooper is coming through. But do you worry about the overall depth in terms of the other talent coming through? Because it's brilliant watching you guys racing, but if we're honest, it's usually, I don't know, 5 to 8 athletes per men and women's race that are always challenging for the same titles.
Yes, exactly. I think that's what I'm a little bit concerned. Yeah, and I think the responsibility is not on one institution or one person. It's many people involved. I think, for example, the International Association in Parasport is one player involved. For example, with the championships, European Championship, World Championships. But also an important thing is Junior World Championships. We didn't have for I don't know how many years. It's very important for the development to build up younger generations in sport to have championships like this. Yeah, but also national associations should have more responsibility, and also athletes like me or David or other athletes, we have responsibility to support the young athletes and yeah, and work together and give them opportunities.
In an ideal world, would you like World Para Athletics to have more integration, more with World Athletics? You know, it's the same sport essentially, but it's in a different discipline, isn't it? I mean, because you kind of need to see the young people need to see the sport, see what can be achieved, to kind of have something to look up to. That's what London 2012 felt like it had. LA's got a massive opportunity, but I don't know, more disciplines added to the Diamond League within the international broadcast window, for example. Those sort of things would be really helpful, wouldn't they? And maybe just, I don't know, World Para Athletics working more closely with World Athletics or the other way around.
Yeah, I think the working together with the international associations, also with non-disabled associations, is is very, very important, I think. And to try to, well, to be more open, to be more included in the other associations too, or in other competitions, also in World Athletics competitions is important, I think. Of course, I know it's a challenge to bring parasport into World Athletics competitions because we have so many categories. Um, yeah, it's not only wheelchair racing. I mean, we have the amputees, we have the blind athletes, and so on. And I know everyone would like to be part of competitions like that, and not all can be included or can be visible. So it's difficult. So I don't have solutions, but yeah, if we could have more visibility on in some competitions, it would be nice as well on track. I mean, yeah, we have the marathons, which is great, which is perfect, but also on track.
It's a difficult one to solve, but if the conversations can at least happen and continue, that'd be a good starting point, wouldn't it? Um, if we can touch on technology, it's a big thing and a development of the chairs generally. And I know you've played a big role in that in terms of consulting and testing, and even with the help of Formula One, you worked with Sauber, didn't you? I think. And I mean, you can physically see the difference compared to a decade ago, just like you can see the development of an F1 car from a decade ago. Um, how much do the new chairs, as they continue to develop, help you to push the boundaries?
Yeah, I think it's important that we develop our material Not only the chair, also the gloves and everything, but yeah, the chairs and the wheels. They are very important to bring our performance. It's not only the chairs, of course, in the end, it's the performance of the athletes, which is very important or is eccentric. But yeah, both should fit together. And yeah, luckily we could go a next step with our racing wheelchair, which was a step forward in terms of aerodynamics, of uh, stiffness, and of weight. So yeah, we could make some further steps in different kind. And it's also a huge motivation for athletes that we can feel a difference from the race chairs 10, 15 years ago. And think it's important for the whole sport that we can make the time faster, breaking records, uh, make it more attractive for the spectators. Yeah, I think it's a natural development, as it is also in other sports like cycling. I mean, they have also high-end cycling um, in full carbon fiber, and it's not aluminium anymore like it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So it's important that we go also this way, move forward, and yeah, bring it to the other athletes as well. It's very nice to see that other brands also are developing their chairs. They're developing new wheels as well. So they bring it to the market. And yeah, they are accessible to all the athletes. It's very important.
Yeah, and it's not just the chairs and the wheels; it's the kit, it's the helmets, it's finding those
Hmm.
couple of percent, isn't it, here and there? And I mean, you mentioned, yeah, it's all about the athlete as well, but and mainly it's all about the athlete. But you've got a reputation as well, Marcel, for sharing some of that tech with your competitors, so that to make sure that it's not all about you having the best equipment. It helps the entire sport, doesn't it? If it's more competitive, and that is really important. You mentioned it already about sharing that knowledge, and that will only help the sport even more.
Yeah, definitely. It's a development of our sport, and we can only develop the sport together and bring it forward. And yeah, in the end, I think the athletes, we are working so hard. We are trying everything to find some little details, some the last percent of development, or yeah, increase our performance. And so also the material that is very important to develop. So yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier on about the fact that Sydney's been added to the major marathon list, and there are other big races, big fast races, like you mentioned, Aita, already as well, races like that. There's going to be a couple more majors coming too in Cape Town and Shanghai, likely once they've passed all the tests that they need to do. Do you like the expansion of the Abbott World Marathon majors?
In general, I would say I like the expansion in a way that is more presence also in like in Australia, Africa continent, and China. I think it's important. It's good for the marathon. I don't know, for marathon in general. Uh, but for us wheelchair races, I think it might be a challenge because when we have more um, marathons in the series, and as we know, we are not thousands of athletes in wheelchair racing. I think it could be a challenge to bring the best athletes together in the marathons. That not a few athletes are going one marathons and a few athletes go to another marathon. That might be a challenge. I
Yeah.
don't know how to solve it. We should discuss it, how we can make it. Um, yeah, but I think all in all, it's a very good thing.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the schedule and how difficult it is, Marcel, I was working at Weltklasse in August, known more as the Zurich Diamond League meeting, which was also the Diamond League final this year. You won the 1500 meters, then you got on a plane to Australia, and what, like literally 48 hours later, you won the Sydney Marathon. And I don't think that time difference is an exaggeration in terms of how long it was between you finishing that race and starting the next one. Um, but most of the time, you must have been traveling. Had you done anything like that before? I mean, you must have been shattered, really tired.
No, this strategy works very well to me.
Okay.
I did it
Yeah.
also when I was a younger athlete years ago. I did it a lot to arrive just the day before the marathon and do the marathon next day. I don't know. I think my body works quite well with this type of strategy. Um, because there's no time for jet lag. It's more difficult for me when I arrive 2 or 3 days before the marathon or the competition. I come into the jet lag, and then it's more difficult. So also in Sydney, it worked brilliant. I felt great at the marathon next morning, but 2 3 days later, I was almost dead because I couldn't deal with the jet lag. So yeah, it was a lucky decision or lucky decision to make it like this.
It's still all the
But
travel, still all the travel time though.
it's
All that time you've got
yeah,
to be
it's
on
a
the
lot of
plane.
travel. Yeah. But luckily I could travel business, which was very helpful. But yeah, I mean, there is a big risk about the material when I arrived that late, or yeah, because when the racing chair is not arriving with the plane, so I could not participate the next day. So that's the risk of it.
That's yeah, that is a stress that you don't really want to have to think about, isn't it? I thought it was extraordinary and that not enough was made of it. The fact that you'd gone from competing in Zurich and then just a couple of days later in Sydney. I've commentated on Sydney a few times now, and at least from the outside, it looks like the toughest of the major courses. Is it that way? I mean, it's very up and down, isn't it? There's not a lot of flat sections there.
Well, I think New York is the toughest marathon for
Yeah.
us,
Okay.
with a lot
Still
of
even with Sydney.
bridges.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Sydney was also a challenge, but New York is the toughest for us still.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Mainly because of do you say the bridges and because of the last 5, 6K?
In New York, you mean?
Yeah, in New York. Yeah. And the Central Park areas.
No, because especially the start on the bridge, it's 1.5 kilometers uphill. Is tough directly from the start, but then also later on there are some bridges. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, can we talk about your dominance? I won't keep you too much longer. But a lot of the time you are pushing hard on your own at the end of races. You've won multiple world and Paralympic titles, including last year in India, and going through some of your other achievements, multiple wins across the majors. How do you keep the drive to keep on going, to keep on pushing?
There are different things that keeps me motivated in wheelchair racing. I mean, in general, I just love the sport. The feeling when I pushing in the racing wheelchair is just amazing. It's a feeling of freedom. It's yeah. It's also when you feel the body. It's a good feeling. And of course, I still love the competitions. The feeling when you are at the start line, in the excitement. And then, yeah, pushing at the marathons, for example, feel the atmosphere. Yeah, I think it's just a huge privilege to do this sport and do all these marathons. It's amazing, and I see see still all the opportunities we have with this sport to inspire other athletes and people with disability. It's amazing, and as I said, I feel also still the chance and the responsibility to support the younger athletes and other people, and this also is it's a motivation. And of course, as long as I can win competitions, is an amazing feeling. It's a huge development, and as long as I have still goals, some visions, it's it makes it easy to keep the motivation alive.
Yeah. And you mentioned near at the start about the fact that maybe you feel the difference a little bit more on the track um than the marathons itself when it comes to sort of as obviously as you get older. Do you still have a lot of motivation still to race on the track though?
Yes, I have still a lot of motivation, exactly because, as you told, the competitions like World Class Zurich, or we have nice competitions here in Switzerland, Atletisima Lausanne as well. So it's it's a great feeling when we have this competition in front of home crowd, in the full stadiums. That's still amazing. Yeah.
And if I ask you about LA, I expect I'm not going to get an answer from you. Does it? I mean, it must be. It's only a couple of years away now. You must feel like it's a big possibility.
It's a big possibility, that's right. So I'm still thinking of it, and there might be a chance. There might be there, but also maybe not. I really don't know. I've not decided yet. At the moment, I decide from year to year if I want to continue my career. The end of the season, I see or look back to the season and look forward and see if I'm still motivated, if my body feels still all right and feels competitive enough. And yeah, then I decide from year to year. So yeah.
It's understandable, but I guess putting it this way, if your body still feels good and you're still having the same kind of years that you've had over the last few, and you get to the end of 2027 and things are going all pretty well, it would be more likely than not that you would be in LA. Is that fair?
I really don't know, maybe 50-50, but of course, I absolutely see that is that LA 2028 is a really great opportunity, and it's so exciting to compete in Los Angeles. I mean, yeah, I absolutely see it that it might be a good possibility.
Yeah, and you'd be one of the stars there, and that helps to bring crowds out, and that could just be fantastic as well for para sport generally. Do you sort of? I won't keep you much longer, but I mean, in terms of when you do eventually decide to step back, do you see yourself having, what sort of roles do you see yourself having in the sport? Because what is clear talking to you is that I think even if you feel like one day, I mean, the time will come one day, I guess, where you're not as competitive as you'd like to be. It does feel like to me from you talking that you don't want to really step away too much from it. You kind of want to play a big role in continuing to grow the sport to make sure it doesn't go backwards, basically.
Yeah, yeah, it's I mean, wheelchair racing was and still is my big passion since I'm a junior. So for me, it's very important to see our sport growing in the future. And so if there is a chance that I can support our sport also after my career in any or any kind of position, like for example as a coach, I could imagine to, yeah, to be still involved in our sport.
Yeah. Well, look, you've created an amazing legacy yourself. You're a real legend. You've been when you get an iconic nickname like the Silver Bullet, you know that you've made it. Look, Marcel, you're an inspiration for para sport, for para athletics. It's been amazing watching you glide to victories, and hope to see you compete for a lot longer yet. And of course, best of luck for London and the races coming up for you.
Thank you very much.